You ever see a family fall apart in real time and somehow still be shocked when it finally breaks? That's exactly what we've watched happen to the Browns. For years, we saw cracks forming, favoritism, silence, resentment. It's no longer just emotional distance or side-eye during confessionals. It's legal, it's financial, and it's brutal. The man who once stood at the center of a plural marriage, the so-called spiritual leader of the Brown family, Kody, is no longer the one holding the power. And Robyn, the wife who was once called his favorite, who many fans believed sat at the top of this house of cards, she's not just losing influence, she's losing property, she's losing status, and maybe she's finally facing consequences. Hey guys, I'm Olivia and welcome back to TLC's Sister Wives Secret, your go-to space where we break down the truths, the drama, and the hard-to-swallow moments the show doesn't always spell out. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single detail. And if you've been keeping up with this season, I want to hear from you in the comments. Did you ever expect Robyn to be the one packing her bags? Because the power dynamic in this family has done a full 180. Meri and Janelle, the two women who spent over a decade quietly surviving emotional neglect and watching their husband build a new life with Robyn, are no longer sitting quietly in the background. They've stepped forward, and they're coming with receipts. What started as private frustrations has turned into full-on courtroom action, and in a shocking twist, it's Meri and Janelle walking away with legal wins, while Robyn is left scrambling. This isn't just reality TV drama anymore. This is a financial and emotional reckoning that fans have seen building for years. We're going to walk through how we got here, what this court case revealed, and what it really means when women who've been sidelined finally get their turn to speak and win. If you've been watching Sister Wives from the beginning, then you probably remember when the family actually looked somewhat united. Back when the idea of a big blended polygamist household still seemed possible. But once Robyn entered the picture in season 1, that energy started to shift. Slowly at first, Kody spending more time with her, the other wives trying to smile through it. But over time, that favoritism wasn't subtle anymore. It was loud, and painful, and undeniable. You guys, there's no way around it. Robyn didn't just become Kody's legal wife, she became his priority. And that didn't happen by accident. She joined the family with 3 kids from a previous marriage, and while it's absolutely right that Kody legally adopted them, that legal marriage came at a cost, a very specific personal cost to Meri. Meri, the one who had been with Kody since the beginning, actually divorced him so he could legally marry Robyn. And what was promised as a selfless act for the good of the family slowly became a gateway for Kody to center his entire life around Robyn. And Robyn alone. Meri and Janelle watched their husband build a new home, literally and emotionally, with someone else. Remember Flagstaff? The house Robyn ended up in wasn't just big. It was exclusive, it was expensive, and it was theirs. Meri and Janelle, they were left to rent, wait, or in some cases, fend for themselves. When they had concerns, Kody dismissed them. When they asked questions about finances or the infamous Coyote Pass land, they were ignored or stonewalled. And let's not forget how many times Kody said he just didn't feel safe talking to them. That's not leadership, that's abandonment. You can practically feel it in the episodes. Meri desperate for any sign that her marriage still meant something, and Janelle trying to hold the family together while also navigating Kody's constant pulling away. Time and again, we watched them get sidelined while Robyn got explanations, affection, and access. And when COVID hit, Kody used the pandemic like a shield, hiding behind safety protocols to justify why he basically stopped seeing his other wives and their kids. Robyn's home became the base camp. Everyone else, suddenly they were not following the rules. But what rules was he following? Because it looked a lot like favoritism. And the emotional toll it took on Meri and Janelle, you could see it in every confessional. The weight, the confusion, the loneliness. They weren't just losing a husband, they were watching him pretend like the other relationships barely existed. This wasn't just a marriage problem, it was an entire system built on imbalance. And while Robyn and Cody kept insisting they wanted peace, their actions screamed control. Meanwhile, Meri and Janelle stayed silent for years, hoping things would get better. But deep down, you could tell they were already breaking. And what came next? They finally decided they weren't going to stay broken. After years of whispers, speculation, and growing tension, the court finally said what so many fans had been shouting at their screens for years. This wasn't just dysfunction, it was imbalance, favoritism, and mismanagement. And for once, the consequences weren't just emotional, they were legal. Because when Meri and Janelle stepped into that courtroom, they weren't just there to close a chapter, they came prepared, with lawyers, documents, and years of receipts that exposed exactly how Robyn and Cody had been handling the family's shared assets. And Robyn, she didn't walk out the way she walked in. Let's talk about the Flagstaff property first, that massive house that became her fortress during the pandemic, the one bought with communal funds. Yeah, that's the one the court ordered her to vacate. Documents revealed she had held on to exclusive use of it, even after the family structure was publicly and spiritually falling apart. Meri and Janelle's attorneys made it clear that home was part of the family trust, not a private sanctuary, and Robyn had refused to provide a full accounting of shared assets for months, blaming emotional distress and privacy. But the judge didn't flinch. The order was clear: vacate within 45 days or face formal eviction proceedings. That house, that life, wasn't just hers to keep. And the fallout didn't stop there. Court filings also showed Robyn's financial situation wasn't nearly as pristine as she had portrayed. Once supported by TLC checks, brand partnerships, and the image of being Cody's last and loyal wife, her financials told a different story. Debt, unpaid property taxes, shrinking income. The checks slowed down when the show paused filming. The sponsors backed away as public opinion turned, and without Cody's empire holding steady behind her, Robyn found herself asset-rich, but cash-poor, and very, very exposed. She reportedly left the courtroom visibly shaken. No poise, no prepared speech, just a woman who had spent years as the favorite, now forced to confront a very public reckoning. The irony, the very structure that shielded her, Cody's favoritism, the legal paperwork, the trust built on promises, was now being used as evidence against her. And while Robyn was spiraling, Meri and Janelle were rising. Their legal teams not only secured access to family funds that had been locked away, but also forced a forensic audit of the Brown family's financial dealings. And the symbolism here, it was huge. For years, Meri and Janelle were ignored. When they asked for clarity about property, money, even time with their husband. And now, a judge was doing what Kody refused to do: take their concerns seriously. This wasn't just a win in court, it was emotional validation, proof that the things they felt weren't just jealousy or bitterness, like they'd so often been told. It was real, it was unfair, and finally it was being addressed, not with apologies, but with consequences. For years, Meri and Janelle were often seen as the quiet ones. The ones who tried to keep the peace, who bit their tongues when things felt unfair, who hoped maybe, if they waited long enough, Kody would return to them emotionally. But when it became clear that wasn't going to happen, something changed. They didn't just walk away, they got smart, and they got strategic. And that shift, it caught everyone by surprise. Let's be real. No one expected them to be the ones delivering the biggest legal blows. That's exactly what happened. In the lead-up to the court case, Meri's legal team dropped a bombshell, a detailed financial review that traced large sums of money from the family's shared ventures. Remember that now-defunct jewelry business into a private LLC. And guess who controlled that LLC? Kody and Robyn. Not only did it raise questions, it raised eyebrows. Because that money didn't just disappear, it was redirected, and not for everyone's benefit. Then Janelle's team came in swinging too. They accused Robyn of using family credit. Yes, credit tied to everyone to pay for home improvements, private school tuition for her kids, and even cosmetic procedures. Meanwhile, Janelle had been shown on Sister Wives struggling to secure housing, sleeping in a trailer on the Coyote Pass land, trying to hold on to her independence while Kody literally refused to spend time with her. Meri, too, was left emotionally stranded for years. But they didn't just internalize it this time. They brought it all to court, and the impact, massive. Because of their filings, the judge ordered a forensic audit of the family trust. That means every dollar, every asset, every deal will now be examined in detail. No more hiding behind vague family business talk. No more excuses. It's transparency time. And fans were loving it. Social media exploded. Hashtags like #JusticeForJanelle and #MeriWins were trending among TLC viewers. Reddit threads filled up with commentary. People were calling it the plot twist we've been waiting for. For once, the women who had been told they were too emotional, too jealous, too stuck in the past, were seen as strong, clear-headed, and right. Viewers who had spent over a decade watching them cry quietly in confessionals were finally watching them take control. And honestly, the timing couldn't have been better. Just as Robyn was losing public sympathy, Meri and Janelle stepped into a new narrative. They weren't victims anymore. They were strategists, survivors, women who had waited long enough, and when the time came, moved with purpose, and not out of revenge, but out of justice. They didn't want to destroy Robyn or Kody. They just wanted what was fair, what was theirs, and the law this time was on their side. If anyone still thought Kody Brown was the glue holding this family together, season 17 and beyond shattered that illusion completely. Because what we watched wasn't a man leading a plural family, it was a man unraveling under the weight of his own decisions. And let's be honest here, this wasn't a sudden collapse. It was years in the making, and Kody, he built it himself. From the start he positioned himself as the head of the household, the one who spiritually married 4 women, fathered over a dozen kids, and tried to present their life as functional, maybe even aspirational. But as the spotlight grew brighter, his favoritism became harder to hide. His emotional availability, reserved almost entirely for Robyn. His patience, gone when it came to Janelle, Meri, and even Christine before her exit. And his tone, cold, dismissive, sometimes cruel. What really hit fans hard was the way Kody treated his own children, especially the adult kids who started speaking out. Gabe and Garrison, Janelle's sons, tried time and again to reconnect, to have honest conversations about their strained relationship during the COVID era. But Kody wasn't having it. He clung to rules, used safety as a shield, and when confronted, often flipped the blame back on them. He even told Janelle point blank, "You've chosen your kids over me." And that moment, that was a gut punch to every viewer who thought fatherhood came first. By the time he attempted reconciliation, it was too little, too late. The damage was done. The estrangement wasn't just with his wives, it was with his children. The emotional manipulation, the control masked as concern, the silence when hard conversations were needed, all of it added up. And fans saw through it. And now, Kody's leadership, if you can still call it that, is gone. Robyn stands by him, but the rest have stepped away, emotionally, spiritually, legally. What was once his family has become his mirror. And the reflection isn't pretty, because the truth is, Kody's downfall didn't come from betrayal. It came from neglect, from valuing control over connection, from mistaking silence for loyalty. He didn't just lose his family, he pushed them away, and in doing so he proved what many had feared all along. He wasn't a leader, he was the architect of the collapse. Where does the Brown family go from here? After all the court hearings, the confessions, the shattered relationships, what's even left? What we're seeing now isn't just the end of a plural marriage, it's the collapse of a system that for years tried to silence the very people holding it together. The emotional cost of that silence. We watched it play out on national TV. The women, the kids, the broken trust, it was all right there, behind the smiles and the couch interviews. Polygamy as Kody practiced it, didn't lift anyone up. It isolated, it divided, and ultimately it broke. Meri, Janelle, and Christine had to lose almost everything to finally regain themselves. And Robyn, she got the spotlight, but now she's standing in it alone. As for the show, is there anything left to film when the family it was built on no longer speaks? Or maybe this is the story now, the truth, the reckoning. Tell me your thoughts in the comments, because this, friends, is where the real conversation begins. And if you're not subscribed yet, now's the time. This is Olivia, and you've been watching TLC's Sister Wives Secret.